Okay, let's do this. Might as well record it while we're here, right?
Sure.
Okay, so what's the deal? Scenario is a block of land and he's got one house on it.
Yep.
So at the moment here, he's got a house here and you've got one lot, right? So he's going to apply to council for an MCU, which is material change of use. So he intends to turn one lot into two lots. Now, let's say for instance this is a $500,000 property and he's gone to ANZ for a $400,000 loan. Now, once he gets his MCU or material change of use from the land titles or his DA approved or etc., he then says to ANZ, can you give us general consent to turn lot 1 into lot 1 and 2? And the ANZ says, yeah, we can do that, but we need to send a valuer out, okay? So, if you're going to just leave lot 1 with ANZ and go to a new bank, say bank 2 with lot 2, then ANZ goes, as a whole unit, as a whole block of land, this was worth 500 grand, we gave you a 400 property, 400 loan against it. Now, if you're just leaving us with this one, we think that's only worth 400, so therefore your loan is at 400. We did an 80% loan to start, so you need now to pay your loan down to 80% of 400 to maintain that 80% LVR. And now what most people do is they just take the whole lot to ANZ and then do a construction and all that sort of stuff over here. But you can technically use some of these, like refinance this to 80%. So this, like, let's say this is now worth $150,000 or whatever this block of land. So you can then take that to 150, 80% of that, which is like 120 or whatever it is, and then use that money to pay out that loan from ANZ down to 80%, and also come up with a fixed price building contract. So then you're building your house on here, because at the moment you think, okay, I've got a block of land that's free and clear, I've got to put 80 over here to pay my deck down, now I've got to go build a house for say 250 or whatever, this is going to be worth 450 when it's done. Can you give me an 80% loan on the building and the construction amount?
Do you think there's any challenges involved if there's things such as a shared driveway or shared facilities involved for the new or the existing lender?
Yeah, for sure. So sometimes when you have one of these things, when you're doing this, like if the house could be across here, and like this is say 1800 square metres or whatever, you want to turn one to say 900 and the other one's generally about 800. You generally lose about 100 square metres and stuff and so this might have to have driveway access, or this house might need to be picked up and moved to here, which is certain clearance from the fence. So yeah, you need to have driveway access, you need to have, but all that would be handled in the DA or the material change of use application.
Does it present any challenges as well, considering you're dividing the block? Effectively, does that then introduce body corp or anything like that?
If it depends on the council, if it's a strata title,
yeah.
Sometimes there is, but typically if it's just one lot subdivision into two,
yeah.
there's obviously there's council rates on this,
yeah.
and there's council rates on this because this is now two lots in that little council area, but most of the people are doing one lot into two, one lot into three. When you're doing a duplex or say I've done this before where there's unit 1, unit 2, and this is duplex 1, duplex 2, duplex 3, duplex 4, and this is all one title, and this is all one title. So what you can do is apply for a strata title if there's certain regulations being met, like there's a firewall, the units are individually metered for water and electricity and all that sort of jazz. So there's a firewall all the way to the roof. And so as long as this is a strata title, this is a unit block, right? So you can then, get an application to strata those units, and then obviously there's going to be a body corp may need to be formed, depending on each little council regulation, and each one has its own individual rates notice as well. So unit 1, unit 2. So that's quite an easy strategy really, because all of this is paperwork as long as the units were built in an appropriate way. So over here you could be shifting houses, you could be putting driveways in, you could be putting easements in, you could be, there's problems with sewerage as well. So say if the sewerage is on the next door neighbour's block and you need to get access or whatever, there may be some negotiation that you need to do to get, you know, the sewage and rainwater and stormwater run away from that block.
Yeah.
So this is an advanced strategy. This one's pretty easy to do. You've just got 2 units or 4 units and you get the strata title of the lot.
Yep.
You know, so.
Gotcha.
But yeah, the DA and or the MCU is a council or land titles thing, and then once you have that approval, then it comes to the individual bank to allowing you to give you general consent. So I've actually done this before where we've had one house or 3 blocks of land and a house with ANZ, and then ANZ said, well, now we're only getting this one security, it's a lot less, so you need to drop us down to 80% of the original loan amount, 80% of the new valuation amount for you to carry on. And quite often, a lot of people just take that loan over to a, you know, like and say, okay, well now you can have 400 security and 150 security at 80%, how much can you lend me? And I'm going to do a build as well, you know, and then what they'll do is they'll either sell this old one out when they're all done and keep this one and pay down the debt on this one and have a nice little cash flow positive property.